I went on my first photographic safari and decided to capture it all on camera. The highs, the lows, and my honest opinion on what safaris are really like from both the photographer's and a wildlife enthusiast's perspective.
I've never seen this.
Wow.
Something special.
As well as my usual setup, I couldn't resist taking a 45-year-old camera with me as well for what turned out to be one hell of a roller coaster.
Yeah, got one.
Just mind that.
Yeah, mind your head.
For a brief bit of context, my name is Matt Gould. I'm a wildlife photographer with a wealth of experience photographing wildlife in the UK and in recent years across the world when working in the wildlife TV industry. A few weeks ago, I was asked by some friends of mine, Lara and George, to help out with some photographic guiding for them. They just had a baby and decided it was a bit too soon to leave the little one behind, so needed someone to take Lara's place for just over a week in Zambia. Obviously, I jumped at the chance, especially as I'd never experienced a safari before. I didn't know what to expect, but knew that even though I would of course have to prioritise the guest's experience and photos over mine, there would still be some guaranteed photographic opportunities with some incredible wildlife for myself also. But before all that, I had to visit a friend of mine to pick up a rather exciting delivery.
New camera time! Let's do it. I think you should do the honours.
Well, I've got to open it.
Yeah, I think so.
It's addressed
I'm
to
going
me.
to break it.
Speed grip. Your back's come apart.
Is it broken?
No. Well, I hope not. It might be broken. Woo!
So why on earth am I risking trying to take a 45-year-old camera that I have never used before to a dream location I might never get the chance to return to?
That is indeed a very good question, but the short answer is image quality.
I have 3 cameras here, all with different size sensors. In short, cameras capture light using sensors like these, and very generally speaking, the bigger these are, the more light is captured, and so the camera has more information to build you a better looking image, which I believe you can really see when you compare them side by side. Thankfully, my mate Taylor popped in for a catch-up, and so we're able to do exactly that.
So that's the first one.
Yeah, I like that one better.
There we go! Improvements, improvements.
Angles.
Angles, improvements, lighting. Right, next camera.
The key difference, even in this very unscientific test that admittedly will have a lot of camera nerds screaming at me, is that the biggest sensor size produces a much fuller looking image with a very soft background.
See, the background's really blurry.
Yeah.
At this point, it's worth taking note of the sensor size beneath each photo, because the Bronica's film, which does the same job as these digital sensors, is a massive 60mm wide, which means a lot of information to build beautiful, unique looking images, and that is the main reason that I want to take this camera to Africa. Though given the age of the Bronica and the slight risk that the second-hand market always poses, we needed to put some film through it to check all was working as expected.
Do you want to have a look at the 500mm first?
Yeah, go on.
Cool.
See this ridiculousness.
Thankfully, Dan works for today's sponsor, Photographique, who are specialists in film and printing.
So before I reveal, what's the longest focal length you shoot with when you shoot film?
35. At a push 50. But I don't physically own a 50mm lens, so...
Links to their website can be found below, and they're able to do orders via post, so you don't have to live in Bristol to benefit from their expertise.
so dark.
F8, mate. But I am using it in Africa, so it's going to be pretty bright.
There's somebody in that window.
Whoops.
We took photos on both lenses across 2 rolls of film, which means about 24 photos in total, believe it or not. I had to use a light meter app on my phone to work out how to set the camera's exposure correctly, but the app had a few teething problems that didn't fill me with confidence, and the same could be said for the camera, or maybe more accurately, the photographer.
No, it's not. I'm pushing that in, right? It's going well. Is there something that needs to be set in the lens? If the shutter's in the lens, what's this thing do? What was that?
So you've got a lock on the grip as well. This one right here.
But the next day we returned to see the results, crossing our fingers that all was provably working as intended. We printed off the photos and laid them all on the desk to examine them, and after a lot of discussion and scrutiny, I'm pleased to say that we concluded they were sharp, correctly exposed, and almost all in focus.
Just point out the two that are clearly not in focus are the ones you took.
Yeah, that's correct.
With the camera good to go, all that was left to do was pack.
That might explain a lot of my work in the last.
Here is a list of all the kit for you gear nerds out there, and if you pause to read this through, then yes, I am talking to you. My main setup would be my trusty 5D Mark IV that I've had for years, and my pride and joy, my 400mm 2.8 Prime. That is unparalleled in its quality, and I would never leave behind for a trip like this. After 2 days of travelling, I arrived at my accommodation with only an hour to unpack and prep my kit before my first ever game drive. As I like to keep this channel family friendly, the following bad words will be replaced with topically appropriate sound effects.
Wait a second. Hasn't ripped the mount off, has it? It has. Long story short, because of bag weights and bag distribution and the various different flights I was on, I had to really push things with the way I packed the equipment, and I thought I'd done a really good job. However, I did have to commit one cardinal sin, which was transporting camera equipment attached, which you shouldn't do, and I know you shouldn't do, but I had to take the risk. The lens itself is in great nick, it hasn't taken any major knocks, it seems fine, but because it was attached, the mount has ripped off, which of course is not good.
Not good is one way of putting it, but most would say the lens is simply f***ed. So it was out with a lens worth thousands and in with a lens that, on the second-hand market in the UK, is currently worth around £500. To get into the park each day, we'd take a very short drive from camp down to the river where we'd hop on a small boat to cross and then back into another car on the other side once in the boundary of the national park, a place where memorable encounters seemed almost too easy to come by.
Wow.
What is?
I've never seen one in the wild before.
Oh, wow.
Same.
There you go. Same as you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my first ever safari. This is quite special. As the noise from the engine of the car dissipated, everything fell silent, and I really appreciated where I was. The rest of that short afternoon was spent in the same mindset, driving around, absorbing the scenery and the present moment. Though I quickly realised that after impressing us with his knowledge and ever-present cheerful demeanour, I would have to ask our guide Donald if I could include him in this video.
Oh, so you mean I put I put on it?
Okay? No worries if not.
No problem for that one.
Yeah.
When okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
So I do YouTube videos?
Oh, YouTube. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Like here?
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You'll make a YouTube star out of you. Donald was a wealth of knowledge which we loved absorbing.
That's a juvenile. More feather in the background.
Oh yeah.
It's a full grown and the juvenile, you see?
Yeah.
The colors on that one is not distinctive.
In return, we of course imparted our own wisdom, such as culturally significant English phrases, which he would attempt to master throughout the week.
Right, what's the new phrase we've taught you? Tell the camera. What's the... when everything's okay? What's... it's all...
Tick-boo. Tick-tack-boo.
Tickety-boo.
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 Tickety-boo. Tickety-boo.
Tickety-boo. It's
tickety-boo. Tickety-boo.
We finished that first evening by meeting up with the rest of the group and taking in a view I will never forget. My first safari sunset over a crystal clear river. The first day had been so memorable already and I hadn't even fired a shot. But tomorrow would be completely different and began with us unintentionally testing Donald's patience.
You see the fork, that is the small opening. Are you able to see? You see the big branch to the right, to the left.
Yeah.
There's a small window. You see the small window in between the big trees. There's a small opening. It's lying right on the opening there.
Okay, let's start from the bottom. Are we
Yeah.
going up the right or left?
Yeah, from the bottom. We are going to the big
Now, I
branch
pride
that
myself
is-
on my wildlife spotting skills. In the UK, I'm regularly the first to spot something buried in the undergrowth or a shape that's out of place on a horizon.
From the base,
But
where
here,
the
it would
tree
appear
stand
that all that pattern recognition is useless.
No, not up. The big base. The big base just in between here.
Yeah.
You see where there's lots of branches, the big branches.
Here's a photo of what we were looking at. I'll give you a moment. Perhaps zoomed in.
Branching from the base.
Oh,
going
yeah.
to there.
It's because it looks like the tree.
It looks like a tree.
You guys are looking at it, but it looks like the tree.
Well, if you didn't spot it, that's because it's here. An unbelievable spot, but something that I would struggle to count as a leopard sighting or photo of one. Thankfully though, some antelope moving through nearby raised it from its slumber just after Donald had repositioned us in anticipation, which gave us a chance for a brief photo of my first wild leopard. As it settled back down, we decided to move on and continue exploring them.
This is how I'm travelling with the camera here. I'm carrying the big 100-400 and then cradled in my feet is the film camera to try and protect it from all the shade. So we just paused and stepped out to take a photo of a tree in a riverbed that's almost completely eroded. This is obviously usually a big old riverbed, and this tree here is standing on its roots. It's absolutely incredible.
I wasn't really aiming to use the film camera for landscape shots as I wanted to concentrate on wildlife, but this was too good a chance to miss. As it turns out though, this great opportunity was an extremely frustrating one. One of the guests, Ulrika, and I spent about 20 minutes trying to find an appealing angle, and by the time I took a photo, I still wasn't convinced. But I wouldn't really know until I got them back from being developed at the end of this video, when I plan to share the results of the rest of my film photography from this trip also. But at least the film camera was off the mark, which was good because over the next few days, photo opportunities came thick and fast, for digital and film alike. Biodiversity in the area was so dense and impressive. Even crossing the river into the park the next day, we were greeted by a bubbling mass of catfish. From brightly coloured birds like bee-eaters, both front-lit and silhouetted, to giants like giraffes sporting oxpecker headgear, they just kept coming. But even after all of this, I don't think any of us could have predicted what was waiting just around the corner.
Wow, that's once in a lifetime, you know? That's once in a lifetime.
But that's all for part 1 of this 3-part special. If you want to see the whole undivided film though, it's already available in full on my Patreon. And as always, thank you to my patrons for helping to make these videos possible. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in part 2.
Oh.